Cynthia, would you like to address accessibility practices we've included in today's webinar?
Absolutely. So we plan for accessibility from the start. For example, we use the accessibility checker that's built into Microsoft 365 to review our learner's guide and our PowerPoint. We address color contrast, font style and size, and add alternative text, which is sometimes known as alt text, to our visual images that are used in today's webinar. Also, you'll notice in our delivery, we do mention each other by name quite a bit as the conversation goes back and forth to indicate who's speaking. This can be helpful when attendees are receiving this information through services like American Sign Language interpretation or live captioning. After the webinar is completed, we will edit the transcript and fix any captioning errors before uploading the webinar to our on-demand library. We also include a reasonable accommodation statement in our invitation to the webinar. So if attendees need an accommodation, they know who to contact to ask. Taking these steps up front can make this presentation more accessible and more inclusive for everyone.
Thanks, Cynthia. Let's get started by talking about what a disability-focused ERG, or Employee Resource Group, is. An ERG is a group of employees within an organization who share an interest in promoting disability inclusion in the workplace. Membership may include employees with disabilities, allies, and advocates. A disability-focused ERG provides a platform for employees to raise awareness about disability-related issues, ensure workplace accessibility, and foster a more diverse and inclusive place to work. During today's webinar, we'll discuss how to plan and build a disability-focused employee resource group, the importance of organizational leadership buy-in and best practices for gaining and maintaining leadership support, and the resources available to employers to support programming, content, and idea generation. To get started, let's do a quick poll to understand where our audience members are in their journey with their ERG. If you experience any technical issues as the poll opens, feel free to enter your answer in the chat section. So our poll is, do you currently have an ERG focused on disability in your workplace? And there's 4 options. Yes, it's going great. Yes, but we need ideas to build momentum. Yes, we're in the early stages of setting it up. Or no, we want to create one, but don't know where to start. So we'll watch for a minute and see what comes in. And it looks like the majority of our attendees today are at the beginning stages where they are looking to create a ERG within their organization. So we will have lots of tips and advice here for you. So membership in an ERG can be leveraged to benefit the organization and the employees participating. Cynthia, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure, Julie. ERGs can provide many benefits to organizations that sponsor them. Having a strong ERG can attract candidates that recognize the values employers place on having a diverse talent pool. They can also lead to greater retention of employees, which clearly is an important value in today's world. ERGs offer leadership opportunities for employees, enhancing skills as well as visibility within the organization. And increased employee engagement within ERGs provides opportunities for employees to engage in meaningful ways and also to find commonalities amongst their peers. Can also produce creative and innovative solutions to issues that are facing the organization, and can lead to improved workplace culture through fostering a sense of belonging and community, and who doesn't want that, which can improve job satisfaction and increase company loyalty, ultimately benefiting the company's bottom line. So Julie, tell me what the benefits are of an ERG for employees.
So the employees can really benefit from participating in an ERG. Participating in an ERG can raise leadership's awareness of an employee's skills, strengths, and abilities. Employees can gain new skills by collaborating on projects and programming. And ERGs can offer employees the opportunity to lead projects, committees, and plan events that they might not regularly encounter in their daily roles and responsibilities. A cross-section of employees in the ERG can afford them the opportunity to contribute to an organization's inclusive efforts in a wide variety of departments like sales and marketing. Cynthia, can you talk about
Julie.
the benefits there?
Yeah, I can. I shall. ERGs can allow employees with common interests, identities, and goals the ability to engage with one another in a meaningful way. Networking and professional development opportunities are another great benefit of ERGs. And ERGs give employees the chance to mentor and be mentored by others, developing the next generation of leaders. ERGs can also be a great resource for employees who have family members with disabilities or may have a disability themselves. So, Julie, how about telling me some of the benefits of a disability-focused ERG and how a company can go about starting one?
We have some great ideas to share about the benefits of a disability-focused ERG. Some topics and ideas to explore may be engaging with an organization on ideas surrounding accessibility and accommodations in the workplace, and partnering with us here at OOD to present disability etiquette and awareness training. It's a great way to help address misconceptions about individuals with disabilities in the workplace. So now we'll talk about forming an ERG, and the Employer Assistance Resource Network on Disability Inclusion, also known as EARN, offers some helpful ideas when starting an ERG. First, clearly articulate a mission statement that's tied to a business objective. Then draft the mission and goals of the group and prepare a preliminary budget to present to leadership. After the group has secured executive sponsorship, the next step is to share the group's objectives with employees and management. And finally, establish a leadership team for the ERG. It's important to communicate to staff that member enrollment is voluntary, and ERGs can start many ways at a grassroots level or by direction from leadership. But no matter how the group starts, there should always be space for members themselves to voice the needs of the group's target population and demographic. Cynthia, can you give some insight on how ERGs can create partnerships with other groups in their organization?
Sure can. So many times there's a larger group meeting of all an organization's ERGs. So in doing so, it creates partnerships across those ERGs, and that way they can energize and engage with members of all groups. So partnering with these other ERGs can help you leverage idea generation for your programming, get additional support for your events, have the possibility to pool available resources, which sometimes can include dollars that are set aside for ERGs, and recruit and expand your own ERG's membership. We're interested in hearing from you, the audience, about your ERGs. So can you share with us in the chat feature how you named your group and where you look for inspiration for your particular ERG? Thanks for the guidance, Kelly. So yeah, feel free to post your responses in the chat there. Oh, fantastic. Thank you, Heidi. Disabilities, wonderful. Love that we're soliciting ideas from the membership. Able, access better the lives of everyone. So cool. Adaptability. The DEI committee, that works. Yep. Sounds like there's various places that are still in the process of naming or have named. Individuals with disabilities, BRG. All abilities and allies. Nice. Love our abilities provide a focus on what the associates can do. Nice. Fantastic. Thank you so much for weighing in with that. It's always good to hear from the audience about these types of things. So appreciate your sharing that. So, Julie, can you tell us about ways an ERG can keep members engaged?
Cynthia, keeping the ERG membership actively involved is critical to continued success and sustainability. The momentum helps with keeping leadership buy-in high, And some ways to ensure continued engagement include maintaining a consistent meeting schedule that ideally accommodates employees from varying shifts and allowing all levels of employees to participate. And finally, scheduling routine report outs to leadership on the group's activities and successes. Cynthia, what ideas do you have to share about programming that an ERG might want to develop?
So Julie, we've got more ideas coming in the chat about the actual ERG name. So I just want to make sure that people check that out. Listen to me at the same time if you can. But there are some more great things coming in on that. But with regards to sharing about programming, planning programming well in advance does ensure participation of as many group members as possible. If you delegate responsibility for or create committees to manage the programming, this can help achieve participation and buy-in. Giving members leadership opportunities that they might not have in their current roles and allowing for creativity and innovation is crucial for the membership as well as for the larger entity. While this isn't an exhaustive list, back to EARN again, they offer some good places to start. So some of these programming ideas that EARN has suggested are publishing a quarterly newsletter, detailing the ERG's recent activities, perhaps conducting an annual event related to your ERG's mission and goals, designing group activities, maybe a couple of them, could be a lunch and learn, could be a social event. And these programming ideas then will help with increasing participant attendance at meetings. And we know it's important, Julie, to have ways to measure the success of any endeavor. So could you possibly share some ideas on how our ERGs can measure their success?
Absolutely, Cynthia. We all know that being able to tell your members and your leadership about your group's success is critical to maintaining buy-in. So let's discuss some easy ways to measure success. First, you have to know what you're measuring. The best way to do that is to review the goals that the group set when it was first organized. You also need to know how you're going to measure success. Review your group's original goals and ensure they are SMART goals, S-M-A-R-T. Your goals should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based. SMART. And evaluate your group's activities and accomplishments to determine how well the group met its stated goals. And another way to measure the success is to survey your staff to gauge the impact of the ERG on the organization. Now we'll be hearing from our panelists today on their successes and challenges in building and leveraging a disability-focused ERG. Cynthia, will you please introduce our panel for today?
It is my distinct pleasure to do so, Julie. Excited to do so. These real experts that are joining us now on ERGs. Our first panelist is Yurchak from Fifth Third Bank. Alex, if you can open up that mic and introduce yourself. Please tell us about how your ERG at Fifth Third Bank got started. What are some of its goals? Maybe a cool programming idea. And of course, you only have 3 to 4 minutes to do so.
A lot of information in just a short time. Thanks so much. Thanks, Cynthia and Julia and OOD for inviting us. And it's truly a privilege to be part of this webinar and also be a part of having quite a few companies here as well to talk about BRGs, because I could talk about BRGs for a long, long time. But in short, Fifth Third has been involved with BRGs for the last 20 plus years. And so we have about 9 different BRGs in the Cincinnati region. And we also have a few enterprise BRGs. So even if you're outside of the Fifth Third footprint or you're not near a regional base, you can also be involved in the enterprise BRG. And I am the co-BRG leader of the IWD BRG here in Cincinnati. And we have 3 major pillars that we're focusing on, which are business innovation, employee development, and community involvement. And so one example that the BRG is that we kind of helped was to launch the ABLE accounts a few years ago. But I look forward to talking to the rest of throughout this webinar in regards to how we started and so forth. But I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Alex. We appreciate you giving us the bottom line on your ERG. Next up, we've got Kara Inglis and Hillary McGowan from Nationwide Children's Hospital. Kara and Hillary, can you share with us how your ERG started, some of its goals, and maybe a cool programming idea?
Thank you so much, Cynthia. And thank you to OOD for this opportunity to share information about Capable. Similar to Alex, I could definitely talk about our ERG all day long. Our ERG was established in 2017. It was definitely a grassroots recognition of need for this representation at the organization. We quickly grew and had a lot of general interest. It started because a small group of employees saw the need, began asking questions, and then the leaders that we connected with really funneled us toward the ERG framework. So our name for the ERG is Capable, and our motto is Capable of Amazing Things. And our mission statement was written very intentionally that all employees at Nationwide Children's Hospital should be able to see their place in the ERG and be able to connect with our mission. And that mission statement is that Capable exists to foster an environment of understanding, acceptance, inclusion, and support for employees who have a disability, as well as their coworkers and leaders, are parents, caregivers, or partners of an individual with a disability, and then also those that are providers, clinicians that treat and serve patients with disabilities. So similar to Alex, we kind of have some pillars that we focus on throughout the year. Our goals are really supporting current employees, recruiting and hiring disability talent, community outreach, and then enhancing patient and family experience. And I'll pass it off to Kara.
Yeah, so I'm Kara Inglis. I've been co-chair for a few years now of the Capable ERG. We have really tried to also create a greater voice at Nationwide Children's Hospital. So our Heritage Month for Capable ERG is in October. We aligned that with NDEAM intentionally so that we can get word out about inclusive employment. We have a lot of table events and other activities. Our marketing department is really great and is interested in trying to get the word out a little bit more. So that's been really nice. We've really also been focused on education for our various departments in an effort to tackle those three mission areas. So can we support employees with disability? Can we get coworkers and managers to be more understanding, inclusive, accepting, willing to hire? Can we help departments who are working with some of our children with disability to do a better job, to be more inclusive, to be more comfortable? And so we're focusing a lot on that. We host a transition conference every couple of years with a variety of topics. So some of our OOD friends know that last year we focused on employment. This year we're working on health and wellness. And then one of our exciting things is that we did combine efforts with our Capable ERG, with our autism program to start a project search program here at the hospital. So we've got 6 interns this year working on job skills and hopefully working toward employment.
Thank you so much, Kara and Hillary. There's a shout out in the chat for you all. Randy Lambert saying he loves the name Capable and loves Nationwide Children's Hospital. So sounds like you've got a healthy ERG going there. And patiently waiting for his turn to speak is Marty Fritsch from GE Aerospace. So Marty, fly on in here and let us know about how your ERG began and some of the group goals.
Yeah, thanks, Cynthia, for the invitation. Very happy to be here. Our ERG began really as a grassroots effort among some employees that were individuals with disabilities and or their family members had disabilities. And I would say it was around 2016 timeframe when other ERGs were really starting to get some momentum in GE Aerospace. So great opportunity at that time. Our network is called the Disability Advocacy Network, or DAN. Our vision is to aspire to establish GE as an employer of choice and to be an inspiration really to our employees, their families, and our community. Our mission is to provide support and resources for empowering our employees to embrace a culture in which people with disabilities and their families and their allies can connect and shine in ways that are really uniquely possible here at GE Aerospace. Our objectives for 2023, we were really focused on operationalizing DAN as GE Aerospace became a standalone business. You may or may not be aware, GE, the corporation that you once knew, with GE Capital, GE Healthcare, GE Power, GE Appliances, GE Aviation, all of those businesses have now been spun off or about ready to complete being spun off. And GE Aerospace will be really the only remaining GE business. So where we used to get a lot of synergy and connectivity from our other corporate businesses, we really need to prepare for how we're going to operate when that is not the case. Another objective, and this may be an idea for others that have not yet started an ERG, it's really a great idea to connect to organizations like OOD. Also, we have partnered with Disability In. Disability In is a disabilities consulting firm. They work with well over 400 companies, now really going global as well. But they offer access to what they call the Disability Equality Index. It's a benchmarking assessment tool, and it's really helping us guide setting our priorities for the future. I will say by taking that survey for the 2022 timeframe, 2021 timeframe, I learned a lot personally about what GE Aerospace was doing well, in addition to what areas we can improve on. I think that's important to help people understand what is available to them. And in 2022, we just completed the survey in the spring for 2022, and we improved dramatically. But in any case, our focus areas are on culture and leadership, enterprise-wide access, talent acquisition, reasonable accommodations, community engagement, and supplier diversity. So moving forward, those are the areas we're going to be focused on trying to improve our ability to deliver on our mission.
Thank you so much, Marty. Appreciate the shout out for OOD. Looks like there's some shout outs for Disability in the chat as well. Always good to measure and then improve upon that success rate. So thanks for sharing, Marty. And finally, we're going to keep it fresh by moving over to Buffy Turner and Samantha Garreau from the Kroger Company. So Buffy, Samantha, please share about your ERG, its goals, and maybe even some of the cool programming you all are up to.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's good to be here. Thanks for having us. I'm Sam Garreau, one of the co-chairs for our abilities here at Kroger. And our ARG really started in 2016 as the Disability Care Resource Group. It was really focused around supporting associates who are caring for family members with a disability. And about 4 years ago, we kind of took a look at that and realized there's a big opportunity that we might be missing. So we really rethought it and refreshed it as the Our Abilities ARG. So now our Abilities ARG is really focused on supporting not only those family members and caregivers, but also looking at our associates, looking at our customers, even our communities, to see how we can better support them across anything that they're trying to do. So we're really aiming to focus, I think Buffy had said it in the chat, but really aiming to focus on what our associates and customers can do, and really creating an environment here at Kroger where everyone can excel. So this year, I know there are just so many pillars and focus areas that you can take with this. This year, we're really focused on two to really drive forward and improve for our group. The first one is awareness, and then also disclosure. So for the awareness piece, we're not only looking to increase our membership, but really trying to normalize all abilities at Kroger. So this can help us reduce stigmas, really build up some allyship, and just represent our customer base. We have all kinds of customers, and we want that to be really apparent in how we're showing up to work. We're also trying to lead by example. I'm visually impaired myself, and sharing some of the stories and just being open with it. We want associates to just understand that it's okay to show up 100% as yourself and be accepted and find a place here at Kroger. And then the second piece with disclosure, we're really aiming to make sure all of the resources, accommodations, and support are in place for both the associate and their managers. So really trying to drive that piece forward and just making sure that we can build success here at Kroger. So it's a little bit about our group. Buffy, did you have anything to add in as well?
Hi, I'm Buffy Turner with Kroger, and I just, Sam, you hit all of the pieces, and just want to say thank you for having us today. And we're looking forward to the continued Q&A portion, and hopefully we'll all learn together about what we can do better.
Thanks
Thanks
so much, Buffy. Thanks so much, Samantha. Appreciate that. Love the whole advocacy piece, and the disclosure piece I know is always something that's important to the companies that we work with here in the state of Ohio too. So fantastic that it's one of the things you all are working on. So now we're going to move into hearing some more from our subject matter experts. Our first question for our esteemed panel today is, besides your ERG that's focused on people with disabilities and the allies, families, et cetera, of such, Buffy, can we come back to you and see what other ERGs does Kroger support?
Absolutely. And I do have my mic on, right?
Yes.
You do.
Great. So Kroger has the, we focus on so many different things, but since we're kind of nationwide, we have about 15 ARGs today, and some of them are more mature than others, and some of them are corporate ARGs, while others have branches out in our divisions in the different states that we're localized in. But a few of those are the ECO, which is environmentally conscious. Outcomes is what the ECO stands for. So really looking at that sustainability and nourishing our associates' daily lives. We have one called Kickstart, which is all about supporting the associates' pathway in their career and offering them all of the resources to understand the opportunities within the organization. We have a Wellness Associate Resource Group, an Asian ARG, Prime Timers, KPASA, an EDGE, which stands for Engage, Develop, Grow, and Empower. And that one's really a mature ARG for us and has a lot of robust activity throughout the community and throughout the organization. We have a Parenting Associate Resource Group, a Young Professionals, African American, Pride, Men for Equality, Itopia, which is all about empowering and supporting introverts individually and as well in the community, along with education and career development, so that you can find that balance and acknowledge the value. We also have a Veterans ARG. I'm sure more to come and evolve as the years progress, but really proud of all of the ARGs that we have within Kroger today, and look forward to where they take us into 2023 and 2024.
Wow, Buffy, sounds like you have a very well-stocked group of ERGs. So
We do.
Alex, give us the bottom line ledger of some of the ERGs that you're working on at Fifth Third Bank.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Cynthia. So we have 9 regional BRGs in the Cincinnati area. So that's the IWD, which is the Individuals with Disabilities, the Women's, the YP, BRG, African American, Latino, Asian Pacific, Islander, Women's, Military, and LGBTQ. And the one that we just recently started, which is a big drive that we were trying to do on the business innovation side, is the sustainability BRG. And so the big effort is rather than focusing on a certain type or focus, it's more of a focus on the business and innovation need. So that's exciting BRG that we just started.
Thanks so much, Alex. It's important to learn about the other ERGs because there's certainly cross-population that occurs within those ERGs. So, Marty, can you tell us a few of yours at GE Aerospace?
Yeah, very similar to Alex. We have the African American Forum, the Green Team Network, Hispanic Forum, the Veterans Network, the Asian Pacific Allies and Friends, APAF, the Pride Alliance, the Women's Network, and of course the Disability Advocacy Network. And I would just add, I think something we do well here at Aerospace is our CDO and his team do a great job of bringing those ERGs together in a regular form, sometimes referred to as the culture counter, but it allows us really to cross-pollinate as effectively as we possibly can. So I would give a shout out to our CDO in terms of how we manage our ERGs and drive some synergies there.
Hopefully your CEO will listen to this webinar and hear how you gave him the shout out, Marty. And patiently waiting to contribute, Kara, tell us about what's going on with Nationwide Children's Hospital as far as a few of your ERGs as well.
Sure. So we have about 8 ERGs at Nationwide Children's Hospital. All Equal is our LGBTQ plus ERG. We have APAN, so Asian Pacific Americans. Connect with Us is our Black, African American, West Indian, biracial, and multiracial ERG. HOLA is our Hispanic Latino. LEAD is for professionals and young professionals. We have military and veterans. Of course, our Capable ERG, and then we have our newest ERG, which is the Green Team, our sustainability ERG as well.
So we're going to stay with Kara. And speaking of green, we're going to talk about a different kind of green. We're going to ask you about the green money. So do you have a budget for your ERG at Nationwide Children's Hospital?
Yes, we do have a budget. It's through our Inclusion and Culture department. We get about $2,000 a year that we can use flexibly. So this year we spent it on our conference. We also will make sure that we, at our table events and our heritage events, have items to give away. So we'll make some purchases. Cookies have been really popular. But we also have swag and other kind of marketing items that we might use.
Thanks, Kara. Appreciate that. I'm guessing there's probably a budget from Alex at Fifth Third, being a finance-oriented business. You got a budget there for your ERG?
Yes, we do. And similar to Kara, we have the Inclusion Council. So what happens is usually in December, we usually prioritize kind of what events we want to focus on. And then we kind of determine to see, what events we want to get sponsorship money from. And then what happens is we focus on some of our big events such as National Disability Employment Awareness Month or the OTR Film Festival or some of the other events that we do throughout the year, and then we might sprinkle some new events as well. So usually at the end of the year, early January is when we have asked for the funds, and then we kind of go from there to determine which events we can do and where we can get the funds from and so forth.
Thanks, Alex. Yeah, obviously crucial to figure out how you're going to allocate that budget for those events and that programming throughout the year. So speaking of successful events and programming, just thinking of the overall success when it comes to ERGs, Samantha from Kroger, can you tell us, how do you measure the success of your ERG that's focused on people with disabilities?
Yeah, it can be a little challenging sometimes to really quantify some of the success that we see. A lot of members, say they get a lot of gratification through some of the events that we're doing, things like that. But when it comes down to quantifying it, Buffy, Ryan, our other co-chair, and I have really kind of focused in on a couple of different metrics that we can measure against. So the first being increased membership. Every year we try to grow, like most of our ERGs. So that's a big one. Also engaging with some of our meetings, how our surveys are going and how that engagement looks, and really just overall engagement with the content that we have through our ARG, I think is really important, whether that be through volunteer events, seeing how many people are showing up to those meetings or in-person events. It's a really good kind of item to track to see really how we're doing. And through those surveys, I know you mentioned earlier in the presentation, it can be just such a key way to see, are we on the right track? Are we meeting people where they need to be? And are we getting the right content out there? So I would say those are all good ones. And then, of course, the DE&I disability inclusion score is always a one that Kroger is looking at. So we've scored very, very high on that for the last 4 years. And it's always a good gauge of, we know there's so much more to do. It will never stop growing, but it's also a good benchmark of, okay, we're on the right track, we're doing some of the right things, and we're getting people involved. So those are a couple of the ones that we look at each year.
Thanks, Samantha. Those are really great tools and ideas to measure. Our next question is going to be for Kara and Marty. Maybe Kara can go first here. So how has your ERG benefited nationwide as a company? And then also, how have you seen it benefit your employees?
I'm actually going to let my
Hillary go?
co-chair Hillary take a chance
Sure.
since I've been answering.
Yeah, thank you, Kara. So how have we benefited Nationwide Children's Hospital? I do think we've benefited the company on the organizational level, because it's kind of Capable has been a rallying point to discuss any accessibility questions, issues. Let's kind of talk to the experts we have here at Nationwide Children's Hospital on how we can be more accessible, how we can be more be more accessible. And then on the second level, benefiting the employees, this is, I think, where we really shine, is where it's given employees a voice to escalate personal and sometimes sensitive questions. We can kind of be the experts. I thank you for bringing this up. Let me tell you about the process to be successful at this here in this organization. Capable has also allowed individual employees to start talking and being involved in leadership opportunities that they might not get in their current roles. We have, frontline staff being able to take on a leadership role, running a newsletter, and they wouldn't be able to do that in their normal department. An additional way is that we can help guide employees and kind of, creating networking opportunities and creating kind of friendships. I've actually gotten to make some lifelong friends through this ERG, so it's been really a lovely opportunity.
Great, thanks, Hillary. How about Marty? How has it benefited your company and employees?
Yeah, I think GE has benefited from our ERG, but other ERGs as well, but in a few key ways. Driving a more inclusive culture. As I mentioned, we're doing this together as a group of ERGs. Talent acquisition and recruitment, right? Bringing that talent, as you mentioned, forward to the business and really having the business gain from those real tangible benefits. I would say also improved process around support. The ERG, we have established relationship with subject matter experts around the business that really help us quickly solve any problems and put things in place that we need to put in place. And I would say the fourth point I would emphasize is around community connections. We have developed some programming with OOD this year, as well as Cincinnati Children's Hospital and the Autism Society, for example. We developed a STEM camp for our high school age students on the autism spectrum. So we've done some good things relative to improving and increasing our community outreach. How has the ERG benefited employees? I would say first and foremost, advocacy and allyship, really assisting in removing the stigmas that can often be associated with having a disability. And then, of course, providing access to information and any support that the employees would need.
Thank you both for those answers. Buffy, can you tell us how Kroger's senior leadership supports the ERG?
Absolutely. Thank you. We have really great support from our senior leadership, not only supporting our abilities, ARG, but all 15 of our associate resource groups are supported by Kroger's Senior Director of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion. And then each individual ARG is supported with an executive sponsor. And that executive sponsor is typically either in senior leadership or a department vice president title. And then newly kind of formed or rolling out to each ARG is executive advisor, which is someone who is engaged and is able to support the group and bring projects to life in maybe a quicker way with a lot more engagement. And then, our senior leadership continues to be involved. They show up at events. Our senior diversity director is really good about bringing all of the ARGs together to support and showcase what each one's doing. And then we have our all ARG event once a year to bring everybody together and kind of showcase and highlight yearly program activities.
Great, thank you, Buffy. Kara or Hillary, either, you tell us how Nationwide promotes the group within your organization?
Sure. So when folks join Nationwide Children's Hospital during their onboarding process, Inclusion and Culture does make sure that there is an explanation of our ERGs during that onboarding. We have found that's a little bit overwhelming, I think, all of the information that people are receiving. So we try to find other ways to share that information. Children's Hospital is very email heavy, lots of emails every day. So we try to just get in there, and we have a broad email listing, a lot of active and inactive members of our ERG. We do a monthly newsletter. And then we really have teamed with marketing a lot, again, especially around like NDEAM, getting things out on Instagram and Twitter and all of that about our ERGs. We have virtual boards, so just trying to team with our marketing. I would say it's still a work in progress. We've met with departments to try to offer support and information, and have had folks that have been at the hospital for years, and they're like, what's an ERG? We didn't even know these existed. So there's clearly still work to be done, but we definitely try to get the word out there as much as we can.
Thanks, Kara.
So there's a chat question that came in, and this person must have seen what's next on my list. So a question came in from Kim Scott as far as what types of events and activities do the disability groups participate in? And that's actually one of the questions on my list to ask our esteemed panel. So I'm going to go over to Alex and say, hey, how do you involve your members in programming, content, and idea generation? And maybe tell us what some of those are.
Awesome. So what usually happens is that as I talked earlier, at the end of the year, we usually get a survey, or we do an internal survey to see what events do our BOG members want to participate in, and then that kind of helps us in two fashions. One, it helps us determine like what events folks are interested in participating in. It also encourages people to be involved, because in short, if they say, hey, I want XYZ organization to be spotlighted during our awareness quarterly events, then we usually ask them to kind of help facilitate that meeting and so forth. The other thing that we also do is on a yearly basis, we do have our signature events. So NDAM is one, the OTR Festival is another event that we also do, Special Olympics, Corporate Olympics. We just wrap that up. So usually we have a few signature events that we know that every year we're going to be doing it. And then there's also a couple sprinkled events here and there every year. And then we kind of rotate those in and out.
Thanks, Alex. Appreciate that. I know I've attended a few of the Kroger ERG focused events and programming. So Samantha, if you can maybe just focus on some of the things. I know we've heard some from you all at Kroger about what you've done in the past, but how do you get your members involved in that program idea and content generation, and then maybe a few others that have not been mentioned yet, or ones that you're planning that have not occurred yet even?
Absolutely. So for it's because we all know people have different comfort levels with speaking out in meetings, or even, taking that step to reply to an email. We found including a survey in those meetings, in those newsletters available in our teams, has been really effective, so people can decide to opt into a volunteer event, give us an idea or something that they're thinking about, or some, you know, new project that, hasn't hit the ground at all yet. So we found the surveys to be really, really helpful for allowing people the space and on their time to really, tell us what they want to be doing. And then we can kind of get them involved from there. Um, a lot of times when ideas are coming through there, we'll kind of pull those into our next member meeting and talk about them, see how we can start standing that up to make it a reality. And a lot of our events have come from that. One of the events that we just hosted was a lunch and learn with our leadership. From, top to bottom, we have individuals who are impacted by disabilities in Kroger. So we wanted to really bring awareness to that, increase our membership, just let people know that it's okay to talk about it. So that was a big one. And then, we have events throughout the year. So whether that be volunteering with some of our community partners or community events, or even working with HR to, build out events to help support incoming associates with disabilities. We're kind of across the board trying to hit as many projects as we can, have as big of an impact as we can at Kroger.
I love that. I love that besides the big events, that you're the welcoming committee for those new employees with disabilities. That's fantastic. So I'm trying to be cognizant of time. So I'm going to kick it over to Julie so that we can get a few more questions from her.
Okay, thank you, Cynthia. I guess my next question would be for Marty. And this is kind of a twofold really for Marty and Hillary. How do you involve employees across all levels of the organization with participating in the ERG for Marty?
Yeah, I think the first opportunity to do that is through education and awareness. We encourage all individuals and DAN members to tell their story. My stories are a very powerful way of helping people understand what we face. Another key area is we really closely watch, of course, the disabilities calendar. We highlight things like Mental Awareness Month. We partner with our health team to publish useful information around mental health awareness. The other thing that I actually, as the operations lead, spend a lot of time doing is participating in department or division level events where they're having Stronger Together sessions or their own culture sessions. And we do a lot of time educating them on disabilities awareness. I think the other thing that's really important that we're getting ready to launch, I mentioned that we are becoming a standalone business at Aerospace. We're going to create what we call global connections. So we can start to connect with sites all over the world, not just in the United States, to share site level information and share best practices and better understand the needs of our employees on a global basis, not just here in the US. And then, of course, lastly, we encourage and support any local or site-based events. I mentioned the STEM camp that we had here in Cincinnati earlier. The GE Veterans Network in DAN really, if you're familiar with GE Aerospace, our military business is really based in Lynn, Massachusetts, near Boston. So there's a really close connection between the Veterans Network and DAN, and they do a lot of local events together. So where I think the example to really emphasize there is where we cannot get mass or scale as Dan, we will partner with other ERGs or other division or department level culture events, stronger together events to get the word out.
Thanks, Marty. So Hillary, we know with Nationwide Children's, you have a main campus and campuses throughout the city, plus a workforce that operates 24/7. Can you speak to how you involve those employees that are headquartered in different locations or during different shifts?
Yes, thank you, Julie. So kind of quickly, I definitely agree with Marty. We do educational opportunities for any departments. We can travel out to them or do things hybrid now. We do look for opportunities to schedule meetings earlier in the day or later in the day in order to access some of those shifts if there's an interest in attending those events or updates. We connect with our executive sponsor to make sure that we are cycling around and connecting with the different groups, different locations. We opened up a new area in Toledo now, so we continue to expand. I'm sure many of the other panelists on the call as well deal with that. We do host events like hospital-wide. Anyone, member or not, are allowed to join. Folks will travel in to attend those events. And then we do create within the membership a variety of roles that folks can step into, something as simple as 5 minutes a day or 5 minutes a week, or if you really want a more of a leadership role, we estimate maybe like an hour a week, really giving either clinical folks the ability to stay engaged with the ERG, or if you're on the administrative side and you have more time. So we kind of craft unique creative roles for folks to step into.
Okay, thank you. So we have a few questions that have come in, so I'm going to pause and read those. So it says, how does your organization document the level of accessibility of your organization's supported events? So employees can, oops, sorry, let's lost my question there. Do they have to attend so meetings can be considered? Sorry, I lost my question here. Okay, I think more about, this is a question about how do they request an accommodation if they need to participate, and that events are supported so that all can actively attend and participate. So any of you want to take that one, Marty?
Yeah, the reasonable accommodations process at GE Aerospace is pretty robust. To boil it down, it starts with a conversation between the employee, their people leader, and their human resource manager. And then the human resource manager will take that request forward to our HR compliance team, who then, they will take any steps necessary to assess and then complete that request for reasonable accommodations. So it's obviously a private process. As the ERG lead, people have come to me not knowing how to initiate the process, but I have seen it work very effectively nearly every time. So the HRMs and people leaders are trained in the process, so they're aware of how to assist when they're asked.
Thank you. Our next question is, have you encountered employees not wanting to join for fear of a stigma, and how have you addressed that? So, Alex, you want to answer that one?
Sure. So our BRG is open to everyone. So the big thing is really just laying out kind of like, how much time does it involve to be involved in the BRG? So in short, there's kind of three bases of membership. So there's one where where you get the membership email saying, here's our upcoming events. Then we have our members that are participating in the event, and then the last group is the team that kind of helps steer and kind of coordinate and make sure running behind the scenes to make sure that the actual event happens, and kind of coordinates with EWS and so forth to make sure that the event is successful. So really what we do is we talk to the VRG members or to the potential member and ask them how much they want to be involved in. And then after a couple of events, then they kind of get the idea that really an IWD VRG membership is worth it.
Great, thank you.
Hey, Julie,
Yes.
we know our esteemed panelists can talk
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they can give fantastic responses orally. So I'm going to ask them as I start to do our wrap up of the webinar, we're going to see if they can type as well as they talk. And perhaps they can type into the chat some answers to these fantastic questions that have come in via the chat. I think there's maybe 3 that have not been answered yet. So we'll see how fast those fingers fly as I do our little wrap up.
Yeah.
Sound good?
That sounds great.
Perfect. Well, thank you to our prodigious and productive panelists. We appreciate you taking time to share your experiences with our audience and with OOD about building and leveraging a disability-focused ERG. We've clearly had a great discussion today about how ERGs and specifically disability-focused ERGs can benefit both the employees and the organization as a whole. Just to summarize, ERGs can provide a platform for idea sharing and disability-related projects to be identified and executed, opportunities to present team ideas, enhance confidence, display leadership, and improve the workplace culture. So with that being said, I'm going to kick it back to you, Julie.
Sure, thank you. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us.